So we did many similar problems to this. In fact, better and tougher problems than this in the homework problems itself, and then classwork, and then many other places, BitSat, and then other courses, other areas. We did these logarithm-based problems. Basically, they're asking us to find where x lies. To find where x lies, we need to remove the logarithm. To remove the logarithm for an inequality, the base should be the same first. That's why we'll try to make the base same for this. For that, you write this as it is, log x minus 1, the base 0.3. Either you convert the 0.3 in terms of 0.09, or you convert 0.09 in terms of 0.3. So the second one is easier, because we know that we can clearly identify this 0.09 as 0.3 the whole square. And the next step, you can use this power 1, and this formula, the well-known formula, the log a power m to the base b power n is m by n log a base b. So if you use that, the x minus 1, the 0.3 is less than 1 by 2 log x minus 1, the base 0.3. See, we could get the base same, but you should have only log here. So you can't have this half. So you should somehow simplify this. So to eliminate this, instead of keeping it in the fraction form, we can multiply the entire inequality with the 2. Because 2 is a positive number, the inequality won't change. And the log x minus 1, the base 0.3. But even 2 here also is not allowed. Allowed in the sense, if it is there, then you can't remove the log. So they send the 2 to this power of this. So which formula we are going to use? Log a power m equal to m log a, from RHS to LHS. M log a is there, we are going to write as log a power m. Log x minus 1 the whole power 2 base 0.3 is less than log x minus 1 base 0.3. But in the beginning itself, we have a condition that the input for log is greater than, that's the domain condition. That condition, even though they are not given, you should write along with that condition, condition number 1, x minus 1 should be greater than 0. Because condition number 2 also the same, we won't write. Condition number 3 only becomes this. So along with the given condition, you should take this condition also. So the x greater than 1 is also there in the beginning itself. Whatever answer you get, that intersection x greater than 1 will be the final answer. So let us continue with the simplification. Now 0.3 is less than 1. So we discussed this logic many times till now. So when you're removing the logarithm with the base less than 1, the inequality will be reversed. X minus 1 the whole square greater than x minus 1. If you simplify this, x square minus 2x plus 1 minus x plus 1 greater than 0. So the x square minus 3x plus 2 greater than 0. This is x minus 1 into x minus 2 greater than 0. Again, the Wavy curve method. We can't, if we count, then it will cross 100, I think, the number of times we applied this Wavy curve method. So the x square coefficient is positive. So this is plus rightmost, minus plus. We want the product to be positive. The x belongs to minus infinity to 1, union 2 to infinity. So the first impression that you'll get is none of these are like this, so the none of these is the answer. So you should be careful in that. That x greater than 1 also should be considered. If you consider x greater than 1 also, the intersection of this and this, the final answer, this part fully eliminated because it's not greater than 1, only this part. Finally, it is 2 to infinity and the first option. To find the least value of this expression, we need to first find the domain, the x values allowed. See, they reduced our burden by giving x greater than 1. They are not giving all the x values are allowed for this. They are simply given x greater than 1. So our burden of restricting 1 for the base and negative numbers or the 0 for the input, all are reduced. So happily we can do the calculation, we can investigate about this expression. So if you simplify this, you can write this as 2 log x base 10. To investigate about this expression, if you write this also in terms of log x base 10, then it is easy. That's why let us try to write this in terms of 10 powers. So 0.01 is the 10 power minus 2, isn't it? 10 power minus 2 is 0.01. So if you write like that, then it is easy for the calculation. So the 2 log x base 10 minus what is this log a power m formula if used plus 2 times log 10 base x. Now we need to find the minimum value of this. This expression looks like, if you take the 2 common, this is log x base 10 plus 1 by log 10 base x. If you remember from the sequence series, we have an inequality. The AM is greater than or equal to GM. Arithmetic mean of 2 numbers is always greater than or equal to 2 the minimum.
So 1 by log x base 10, right?
Yeah, sorry. 1 by log x base 10. The 10 base x goes to the denominator, x base 10. Yeah. So the AM is greater than or equal to GM. If you use this formula, you remember this formula, A plus B by 2 is greater than or equal to root AB. You might have learned this in sequence series, and also I remember doing once somewhere B also. So if you use that logic, then log x base 10 plus 1 by log x base 10 by 2 is greater than or equal to the root of log x base 10 into 1 by log x base 10. So you get this value as 1. So the log x base 10 plus 1 by log x base 10 is greater than or equal to 2 times of this root 1, which is 2. But we want to investigate where the 2 times of this lies. Multiply this with 2. Then 2 times of log x base 10 plus 1 by log x base 10 is greater than or equal to 4. So 4 is not there in any of the first 3 options, so none of these is the correct answer. The minimum value of this is 4. That's the answer. So if you read the question carefully, a function g of x is defined on -1 to 1. On means from -1 to 1 to -1 to 1. So both domain and codomain are -1 to 1. Area of equilateral triangle with 2 of its vertices are this and this is given as root 3 by 4. So for that, area of equilateral triangle formula we need to know. For an equilateral triangle, if the side is A and the area equal to root 3 by 4 A square. So you might have learned the sine rule, cosine rule, and all those in the properties of triangles, the solutions of triangles. So there itself you get the area of the triangle. You can see that ABC, the delta is equal to half BC sine A. You can use. For an equilateral triangle, what is B and what is C? All ABC are the same. So 1 by 2 into sine A is all angles are 60 degrees. Sine 60 is root 3 by 2. So you get root 3 by 4 A square. There are many ways of getting this formula. I just, because you already know the area formulas from the properties of triangles, I used. In case if you don't know, you can use many other formulas, like you can use the height. If you consider the median, that will be the perpendicular for an equilateral triangle. Then this will be A by 2. Then the height will be, using the Pythagoras theorem, the height will be root 3 by 2A. Or if you can use the sine 60 formula, still you get it. So automatically the area delta equal to half into the base is A and the height is root 3 by 2A. So automatically you get root 3 by 4 A square. So don't worry about this formula if you don't know. So you can use this formula and get it. So if you know the side of an equilateral triangle, you can find the area like this. So what they're given is, they're given two of the vertices of an equilateral triangle. Automatically, the A for that equilateral triangle is the distance between the 2 points, the x minus 0 whole square plus g of x minus 0 the whole square. This is what the A. And they're also given the area is root 3 by 4. So the area, okay, I'll directly write an objective. We don't need much explanation. So the area is root 3 by 4. A square is given as root 3 by 4. So automatically the A square, what is A square? X square plus g of x the whole square equal to, what is it? 1. So A is this and A square is this. That implies g of x the whole square equal to 1 minus x square. In general, when you're taking the square root for a function, you write plus or minus. But you need to keep the point in your mind that g is a function. Usually, if you write plus or minus, there are two types of r. One is inclusive r, other one is exclusive r. Inclusive r means, suppose if I write x is equal to plus or minus 2, that means the plus 2 is one answer and minus 2 is another answer. Both the answers are valid, both are true. At a time, both are true. It's kind of that. But exclusive r means only one is true at a time. So that's why g of x is equal to plus minus, if I write both at a time true is not possible because g is a function. So g is equal to root 1 minus x square, or g of x equal to minus root 1 minus x square. At a time, g of x is equal to plus minus root of 1 minus x square is not allowed. That's why this cannot be the answer. This can be the answer. This can be the answer. And g of x is not this, so this cannot be the answer. So the 2 and 3 will be the correct answer. I don't know whether I gave this example earlier or not. So the teacher is teaching and one fellow is standing at the door and then doing some drama and all, acting and all. He's not getting in and not asking the permission and all those. So then immediately the teacher saw that fellow and the teacher told that either you get in or get out. Get in or get out. What is the meaning of that? This R. Either you should come in and then sit here, or you should go to the ground and then play. Don't do both. At present, he is doing both. He is trying to get in but not getting in. He is trying to go out but not going. So he is neither doing in or not going out. So he is there in middle. So that's what the teacher told. So the R, so this R is identified based on the tone and the situation. Here the meaning of this R is exclusive R. At a time you do only one among the two. This R is called the exclusive R. Inclusive R means give me a pen or pencil. So I'm writing on the paper, sitting and writing on the paper, right? And the students are there sitting here. So I asked, so I don't have any pen or pencil to write. So I asked the student, give me pen or pencil. So when I asked, give me pen or pencil, suppose one student came and then gave me one pen as well as one pencil. Right? Will it be wrong? No. My intention is I want to write something and you give me one of those. If both of those you give, I'll take the option. I'll take both of them and keep here and I use whatever I want. Or if you give only pen alone, that is also fine. Pencil alone, that is also fine. So this is called inclusive R. So the tone of R is here, you are allowed to do both. The tone of R here is you are not allowed to do both. Right?
So we can also, can we interpret it like a function can have only one image? So
yeah, see the function, a function for one, not the function, one individual x value cannot have two y values.
yeah, yes, sir.
So it is not allowed. X goes to y1 in a function is fine. and x goes to y2 in a function is allowed. Individually, this
Yes,
or
sir.
this is allowed, but this at a time is not allowed.
Yes, sir. So like we can interpret it like that also, right?
Yeah,
That g of x is not equal to plus or
that's
minus.
what we are. See, the inclusive OR and exclusive OR is a separate concept we have in a chapter called mathematical reasoning in the 11th grade itself. We're going to discuss there in detail. So just I'm trying to give one idea that both at a time is not allowed in some cases, allowed in some cases, right? If you take g of x is equal plus minus root of 1 minus x square, and if when I take x is equal to some 0 or like whatever 0 as input, then I get g of x equal to plus minus root 1, which is equal to the plus minus 1. So that means 0 is mapping to 1 as well as minus 1, right? So if I can't give a definition of a function like this, I can't give a definition of a function like that. They told that g is a function. So g of x writing like this is not allowed. When I write individually g of x is equal to root 1 minus x square, this is a function individually. And when I write g of x equal to minus root 1 minus x square, this is a function individual. They're given y is equal to f of x, x plus 2 by x minus 1, and they're asking us to verify which of the following is true. If you remember the definition of a rational function, when we're doing the real functions, constant function and all those, the rational function definition itself is numerator, denominator of polynomial, then that is a rational function. So y is the rational function of x is correct option straight away from the definition of rational function. Now what we need to find, x is equal to f of y. So if you write x as a subject, you get the same function. That's what they told. That we need to verify. And f of 1 is equal to 3 also we need to verify. So let us verify that. How? The f of 1 equal to, oh, it is not defined. So it is not defined at 1. So f of 1 equal to is not defined. But they are given f of 1 is equal to 3. So this is the wrong option definitely. Next step. Y is increasing with x for x less than 1. For x less than 1, y is increasing with x. Okay. So we will get an alternate method to verify whether it is increasing or decreasing once you learn the calculus. But I will try to give without using the calculus now for this. And let us verify this, the first option. Y equal to x plus 2 by x minus 1. You try to write the x as a subject. Then yx minus y equal to x plus 2. That implies yx minus x is equal to y plus 2. And x if we take common, y minus 1 equal to y plus 2. That implies x is equal to y plus 2 by y minus 1. If you look at this strangely, we got x is also equal to, so f of x is this, then what is f of t? T plus 2 by t minus 1. F of y, y plus 2 by y minus 1. They are given x is equal to f of y, isn't it f of y? So the x is equal to f of y is a true statement. Now how will understand y is increasing with x means we can do it in simple 1-2 steps using calculus, but I will try to give without using the calculus, maybe little lengthy without calculus. So we can try to draw the graph of it. We can try to draw the graph of it, and then the graph also we need to draw only less than 1. So clearly at x is equal to 1, this function is not defined. So whenever it is not defined, we'll draw a dotted line at that point. We already drawn the y 1 by x graph in regular class. So with that experience, we can draw the graph of it. So x less than 1, you can take some values. Kind of x is equal to 0 if you substitute. Y equal to 2 by minus 1, which is minus 2. At x is equal to 0, y is minus 2. Minus 2 is somewhere here. Next. Substitute x is equal to minus 1. Then y equal to 1 by minus 2. So the minus half. At x is equal to minus 1, you get minus half. Minus half is somewhere here. Next, take x is equal to minus 2. Then y equal to 0. So at minus 2, you get that is 0. Next. Actually, this much is enough for us to understand the nature of the graph. You see that the y values are decreasing on left of 1. Y values are decreasing on left of 1. But they are given that y is increasing. So this is also wrong option.